here today to talk about the Memorial Day, and I'm wearing this jacket because on certain days of the year, I like to be remembered about the people that I carried and who carried me. And many of them are not here any longer. I always start days like this off by looking at the pictures on my wall at home of people who are no longer here, who gave their lives for this country. Memorial Day, as Santita noted, started in Charleston, Carolina. There was people were thrown into unmarked graves, that our soldiers and freed slaves actually helped to memorialize that. But I go back a step earlier, and I was talking to Santita about this, is that, you know, it was almost like the Second American Revolution, because our first one was when Crispus Attucks fell on the battlefield for the Revolutionary War. So we've always been a part of history. We're trying to change the course of our freedom, making sure that we are free to live. As you walk upon the hallowed grounds of cemeteries, you must realize that you are treading among fallen heroes. But recognize the seeds that continue to contribute to our freedom. What they did was they passed on to you the potential to go to rallying points, public places of debate, and to vote in order to bring into fruition a stronger nation. So it is incumbent upon you not to let their sacrifices go in vain. Their actions have broken countless chains of oppression, both here and at home and abroad. They have died so that we may truly live. As you walk, keep their torches of war ablaze. Keep that in your heart, that your life is supposed to be dedicated to the fruition of things like our General Jackson, who's sitting next to me. He is the general of the civil rights movement. And anyone who sees anything less than that doesn't understand war or sacrifice or service. These rallying points are within this organization. Our youth should be here, all across the generations, because all of us are affected by this countless attack upon our conscience of who we are and what we are. Reverend Jackson talked to some young people earlier from high schools and from colleges and reminded them of the intrinsic abilities, skills, and talents they have within themselves and how to bring those things forward, to stop the assault on their character and their souls. So there's a war going on all the time. All of us are involved in the war. Some of us give us our lives for that war. So we have to strive to extinguish the roots of hatred and injustice. We must truly stand in direct opposition to those that would deprive others of our humanity. Broken chains of hatred must never be mended and reenacted as they are today. Once those chains are being broken and we have made our stand, do not retreat, do not pull back, do not allow them to walk over you. The deterioration of universal human values, morals, and dignity cannot be allowed to stand. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in your home, whether it's in an application, whether it's on television, on the radio, on street signs, those cannot be allowed to define who we are. These service members chose to bear tombstones reflective of the encaging concrete prison walls of the hatred-filled ideologies they fought to defend against. For they sacrificed their lives rather than to forsake the hearts, lives, and souls of children they fought to free from tyranny. And this began with the freedom from slavery in this country. That's what Memorial Day was about. On Memorial Day, the flag of the United States is raised briskly to the top of the staff and then solemnly lowered to the half-staff position, where it remains only until noon. It is then raised to full staff for the remainder of the day. These service members preserve the right to be heard, the will to be free, and the right to happiness, things we hold to be precious and priceless within our lives. So as you go to sleep at night and you drift off to sleep, and it is peaceful and you feel the breeze from your window on a hot summer day, which we haven't had many of, when you see this happening, make sure that you realize, and when you hold your children, and when you go to school, and when you go to vote, and when you go and collect your paycheck, and you buy your food, remember those people who are laying in the graves who gave all of that up so that you could have that. When you hold another person's hand in love, remember those people who gave their lives so that you could do that. Remember that the half-staff position memorializes the more than 1 million men and women who gave their lives in service of our country. At noon, their memory must be raised by those who still live, who resolve not to let their sacrifice be in vain, but to rise up in their stead and continue to fight for liberty and justice for all. It is incumbent upon you to be the torchbearers for that freedom and to make sure you participate in every way, not just on one day of the year to memorialize the dead, but every day to memorialize the living. Be a part of PUSH, show up for the convention, make sure you contribute to icons like the Reverend Jackson. Thank you.